Hi, and welcome to my book review. The book that I chose was Robotics, Discovering the Science and Technology of the Future. This book was written by Kathy Cecere. I'm probably butchering that. And the general overview of this book is basically robots and robotics that are all around us. As you can see in the lower left-hand corner, it does say that it is a build-it-yourself series, and we will get a little bit into that when we go over the summary. Here we go. So the summary. This is a fun build-it-yourself book that was written by Kathy Cecere. When reading about Kathy, I found out that she was looking for ways to keep her children engaged in school, and she was homeschooling her children, so she used a lot of technology and a lot of hands-on activities. This book introduces readers, and I put of all ages, to robotics with information on its history, different robotic technologies, and the evolution of the field. Readers are invited to construct their own basic robots, including pressure sensors that use LED light bulbs, a watch battery, and an aluminum foil, which requires a battery, insulated wire, drinking straws, and other materials that can be found around the house. In my personal opinion, this book serves as a great foundation for those of us who are not great with hands-on activities or just not very creative. And then I also put that it is also recommended for those who have an interest in the field and who are already know it. I put experts, but not really experts, but those who already have interest in the field. So it does serve for, in my opinion, for all levels. It is a build-it-yourself book, which is awesome because there are components of the book that actually have activities where you can gather things from around your house and create different robotics. The pictures at the bottom, I decided to add those because in the book it talks about that our general, idea when we think of a robot is this one at the lower right-hand corner. We all think of robots as these human-like characters who have fingers and eyes and, look like a human. But in all reality, the robots and or robotics come in so many different shapes and forms. And I like that in this book, she really, breaks that down. Robots can come in the form of microwaves. They can come in the form of an assembly line where your car would be put together, and or prosthetics, arms, legs, fingers. So all of those are considered robotics, and it is something that she definitely breaks down in this book, which is awesome because I do think that many times when we think of robots, or even the young children think of robots, they think of that general image of a human-like figure. So I really liked that. My analysis, some things that really stuck out to me were the timeline in the book. The first couple of pages starts with a timeline of when things were but when robotics were invented. It starts in 200 BC all the way through to 2012. It gives you some in-depth information. I'm not a big robotics and or technology person, so it would be stuff that I would also look up. The book is also broken down by different types of robots. So I kind of talked about that in the summary. The different types of robots are not simply, the human-like characteristics. The book does a really good job of breaking those down very simplistically. We have the microwaves, the prosthetics, and or the assembly lines. So I like that it was not only broken down by time frames, but it has the different types of robots. And then embedded in that are the different parts. So it sounds confusing, but it's really not. The different parts of the robot, which I thought were really cool, because again, I'm not that technology person. I'm not that hands-on person. I have to see it to know what it is. And but I like how it's broken down by the different parts. Ooh, and I see a spelling error. But anyways, so I have the actuator, and those are how the robots move. There are the effectors, and that's how the robot does things. The sensors, how a robot knows what's going on. The controllers, how robots think, and then the build-it-yourself projects. But the build-it-yourself projects are embedded into each of those 4 different categories. The controllers, sensors, effectors, and actuators. I'm probably butchering that as well. So each area has a different build-it-yourself project that you can do to kind of mimic what that is, if that makes sense. So again, I really, with teaching young kids, I really like the timeline, because I feel that, when you actually have those actual facts for kids and you can show them that, they really, really seem to be engaged, and they would like that. I think all around children love robotics and robots, so I think I'm really impressed with the book so far. In conclusion, I listed some pros and some cons here. As you can obviously, my pros do outweigh the cons, but I want to get a little bit into each one. So the pros, I like that it used information, and it related it to real life scenarios. So in some parts of the book, one of the examples is the Toyota hybrid, and it talks about how the hybrid uses different robotic parts in its new hybrid series. And I like how it uses those real life facts and examples so that children can actually see how it's being put to use. I thought that was super cool. I liked that it's introduced in a fun, picture-friendly way, if that makes sense. The book is not just words on a page, but there's pictures and there's different kind of illustrations that, I guess, mimic what that robot would look like, if that makes sense. So I really like the pictures. The pictures really help you visualize. It gave definitions for not every word, but all of the robotic terms and things that Kathy probably thought were important for the reader to know. At the bottom of the page or on the next page, it gave definitions of what those words mean. And I actually found that super helpful because, again, this is not my area of expertise. So I loved that. And then what I really liked is I did purchase the book on Amazon. It was a Kindle, so I had instant access to it. And it only cost $8. So I really, really do think you get, what you pay for. I'm super pleased. Some of the cons, the materials for the do-it-yourself projects. I know they say that they are materials that you can find around your house, but some of them, I do not think that they're materials that I'd be able to find around my house. So just really getting those materials might be a little bit of a problem. And it's, the other thing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, honestly, like the good outweighs the bad, but the second one was the time. Some of the do-it-yourself projects would take a little bit more time to put together and to construct. Again, I do really feel that my pros outweigh my cons, and I definitely would recommend this book. At the bottom, I put overall, I thought this was an excellent book on robotics and its history, and I guess I could even add and all the different aspects of robotics. It serves as a great build-it-yourself book. That I think I'm going to use during our inventors unit. I think the kids would be totally jazzed about that. It was written very simplistically, which means I can follow along and not become overwhelmed. Again, if it's, I am not that technology or that hands-on person, so directions tend to overwhelm me, but this again is a very friendly user, I feel like follow along book. And then I do recommend this. I hope this book review was understandable. It makes sense to me. Thank you for watching if you watched. Have a great evening.